Hey folks, Carl here and welcome to episode 1 of Amusing Hobbies FV214 Conqueror Mark 1 British heavy tank in 1/35. Okay folks, so we need to get our dirty mat down for this part, and we are going to start this build in the usual way. We are going to start with the bottom tub, and we are looking for sprue B. For one reason there's one on sprue C, so we've got sprue C here and sprue B. We're going to follow the usual format. If we find anything odd or unusual in the instructions or the build itself, we will start recording and show you what's going on. So we'll probably stop for regular updates as well. So with that said, I shall talk to you in a moment. Okay folks, so far we have got the mounts on for the bogies. Nothing really different in this kit to the FV214B. Even the bogies that the wheels are going to be sitting on are identical. We have the choice of either a fixed solid piece, or we can use the springs and make up the active suspension. Now we did the active suspension on the FV214B, so this time we're going to use the solid suspension. A little bit easier to build. We're not planning a diorama with this or anything, so we don't need to position the wheels or anything. So we've just taken everything off the sprue. We're about to clean up and continue. So there we go. Talk to you shortly. Okay folks, so where are we at the moment, and what are we doing different than we did with the FV, seeing as this is pretty much a carbon copy? So this time we have not used the active suspension, we've just used the standard, and there's still actually a little bit of movement in there, not a huge amount, but a little bit. This time we are not connecting these bottom wheels. They are all done and prepped and ready for primer. We're not connecting these ones, but we are connecting the small guide wheels to the top. But what I've done this time is I've glued these in place first, and then we'll connect these wheels, because what I'm doing, if I show you, if we zoom in, I'll show you on one. What we're doing is we're connecting this up, so these two parts here sit above these horns here, like so, like that, and then it slots into that position there. And we're just putting a touch of glue on there in order to hold it in place. So we'll do that with all of them. Like so. Double checking and making sure every time that these are actually sitting above those guide horns, because I almost glued on this side some of them in the wrong place, sitting below it like that, and it would, and it did glue in place, so you can see it's underneath, and that is no good. So now we've got all those, shall we say, for want of a better word, tacked in place. What we're doing now is we are going to flood this top section here with quite a dollop of glue, and then we're going to get a clamp, one of these, and we're going to clamp that top part down and in place. Now if we had the wheel already in, we couldn't do this, and what that's doing is, because there's so much glue in there, it actually starts to bead out a little and looks as though it's actually welded in place. I don't know if you're going to pick it up on these ones, because these ones are already done. There's no gaps or anything like that. It actually looks like they are a solid piece. So all as we're doing, I'll do another one, is flooding this area with glue. I actually missed that then, so a little bit more, like so. Grab a clamp and clamp that in place like so, and the force actually makes the plastic extrude out and make it look like a solid piece. We might as well do all 4 of them, and then leave the clamps on for a good half an hour, and then you can take them off. Come on. Oh, no, we've lost the foot on this one. It still works, still does the job. Last one. There we go. The capillary action should pull it into place. And there we go. It's all 4 of those clamped down and in place. So I'm going to leave that to dry. And we are going to move on, because we've done all this. We're going to start adding some of this on the back first, but I'm going to start doing this while I'm waiting for this to dry. So I'm going to carry on, and we'll talk to you in a bit. Okay folks, so that is us just finished the last part of the lower hull, which is of course the back plate. We put this box on upside down unfortunately, but it doesn't make much of a difference, but hey, there we go. So the only thing left to do is to get this onto the back of here, and it's a nice simple easy fit like so. We'll just put a little bit of glue onto the back like 1 and 2, a little bit on the bottom, and that is us done. A little press in place without using my fingers, because I will end up with half a dozen fingerprints. There we go, just need it pushing down a little bit. There we go, job done. We'll put a little bit on this bottom seam down here, and that is us done with the lower hull. Done and in place, and only one mistake. So, and of course we've got all the wheels here as well, all done, ready for primer. So that is the lower hull finished. We put this to one side, and we are now going to move on to the upper hull, which is here. Now, taking learnings from some of the mistakes we made on the FV, we're not going to include some bits and pieces on here, especially the wing mirrors. Although they lasted quite a while on the FV, they didn't last to the end of the build, so we are going to leave them off this time. So I'm going to get on and we'll talk to you shortly. Okay folks, a little update of where we're at. I'm just playing around here at the moment with some jerry cans and a couple of buckets, just to see if they're going to look any good on there. They're from something else. So far we've finished all the tooling on the back. I think there's a few little more bits and pieces to add in there, but not a huge amount. We've gone and we've put the guide horns in for the tow cable, and we've done the small PE that is also for putting the tow cables on, we've added the fuel caps, we've added the front section with the lights on, and we've done this top section here with the driver's hatch. We've added the beams here and here, so there isn't a huge amount left to do on the top upper hull of this tank. When he says a huge amount, we've still got these shovels to add, and we've got the boxes to build and put on, and I think there are several boxes. So yeah, we've got those 1, 2, 3 boxes, and then we've got the exhaust system and another couple of boxes there, so not a huge amount left to do. So I'm going to carry on, get this upper hull finished, and then we're going to look at the upper hull. So I shall talk to you in a moment. Okay folks, that is us completed the upper hull, and we've also got the 2 tow cables done. These have still got to be put into place, but we're going to paint it up before we put these and fix them in place. So we can now put this with the lower hull over here, ready for paint, and we are going to start now on the tracks. So we're going to flip over and get these tracks done. 98 tracks per side, so I shall talk to you in a moment. Okay folks, so as you can see, we are onto the tracks, and they come on a tiny little sprue like this, so it's just a matter of cutting them away, each and every one. And what we've done is we've created 2 piles in 2 jars of the right amount of tracks for each side, and it looks like we've got quite a few spares, which is good. So what all we're doing now is, where we've cut it away from the sprue, there's a tiny little nub, but not much, and it's a very easy and very quick clean up, if I can find my sanding stick, which is here. So it's literally just a very quick once over on that edge, and it's done. So that is pretty much it for these tracks for the moment. When we come to put them together, I'll show you what we do, because you have to be quite gentle when putting these together. So I will get the rest of these sanded down. It's going to take me a little bit of time, and we'll be back and I'll show you how they click together and what to watch out for when putting them together. So talk to you in a moment. Okay folks, so we have our 2 tracks done now. There's 90, should be 98 links in each one of these jars. Now putting these together, no glue is required. However, you do need to be careful. If we zoom you right in as close as we can so it doesn't blur out, you can see on this section of the track here there are 2 nubs. Now this inside nub is what connects you to the next track. Now if you're too rough with this, you flatten this nub and the track pretty much becomes useless. So if we flip this track around, you will see somewhere here the connection point for it. There, one there, there's one the other side. Now those knobs there push into those knobs there. Now if you do it one side first and then very carefully push the other side in so you get more of a click like so, you then have quite a strong workable link. Yeah, so if we get another one, it's very difficult to keep this on camera while I'm trying to click them together. So one side first, let that little click happen, and then a very gentle push on the other side so you get that click. You then have another workable link. Now it's worthwhile taking that extra little bit of time doing this. If you rush it, you will damage them. and you then are going to have to glue the track to get it to stay together. Ooh, I'm concentrating really hard, my tongue's out and everything. Very little gentle click, and there we go, another one. Oh no, see, there we go, we've damaged that one. Now if we zoom in and look at that, you should be able to see this knob here has flattened a little, so that track is now no good. Thankfully this kit comes with quite a few spares, but don't take into account that you're not going to run out, because I literally had no spares by the time I finished the 215. So these are worthwhile keeping, because you can use them on the tank, or you can use them in a scratch build, or if you're doing something unusual. So take your time, don't do what I've just done. Put these links together very, very carefully, and it's worthwhile. Once you get a full track, it's very, very flexible and very, very workable. So I'm going to go and take my time and put these together, and when we're done I'll show you what I mean. So talk to you in a moment. Okay folks, there is our 2 tracks done. We did this one first, and while we're doing this one we actually damaged 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces of track. So easy enough done. However, when we did the second one we didn't break a single one, and you can see that now that it's all together, it holds together quite well. You've still got to be reasonably gentle with it, but it will take a little bit of handling. So, and this one should be the same. Watch, one of them will break on me now. So yeah, that is our tracks completed. 98 links per side. So all we've got left to do now is the main turret and gun, which we are going to start. We've already taken off the main part of the upper turret off the sprue and cleaned it up, so we are now going to work away, get this done. I have to say, so far there's been no fit issues, no issues and no problems, so follow the instructions and it goes together really, really well. So I'm going to continue and we'll be back shortly. Okay folks, we are working away on the upper turret. We're just currently working on the commander's hatch, but I have gone and added a tissue canvas around the gun mantlet because the gap was absolutely horrible, and all we've used here is a bit of tissue. If I zoom you in, hopefully we can get rid of some of this glare. So as you can see, all of this is 2 layers of tissue. It's still drying. It's been on there for about an hour, and all as we've done is we've taken a sheet of tissue paper like so, cut it into a strip like so, and then we've just used a very small amount of watered down PVA, which we have in here. And if we move this out of the way and I get out a brush, take the lid off this PVA, and I shall show you on, what can we show you on that will work. Effectively all you're doing is I took this piece of tissue, I place it down where I wanted it to start, the straight edge, like so, and then I dabbed the tissue. I'm not going to put it on any part of the model because I don't want to thin it, and it's just a matter of literally wetting the tissue and just letting it soak up all the PVA. Let's get that on camera. Like so, keeping it as flat as you can. Which is quite difficult. So you imagine this is the straight edge on the top of the turret that we wanted to do, and then it's literally just a matter of pushing the tissue around until you get that ripple effect. On it, and you want to keep your edges straight, like so. Just move it around and manipulate it till it's into the position that you want it to be, and then it's a matter of leaving it alone for around about an hour. So it looks like so. Leave it alone for around about an hour until it starts to go hard. Now I used 2 layers on this, so I took the one piece, I then cut another piece out, laid it on top, soaked it, and then I manipulated it into shape. I would have probably got away with just the one sheet. So you've left it alone for about an hour and it starts to dry. You can then come in with like a pair of tweezers. I'll show you on this. Now that this is starting to dry up properly, you can then go and manipulate it a little bit more and put some proper creases, or manipulate the creases you've already got in there to look a little bit more pronounced. And that is pretty much all as we have done. So I'm going to let this dry completely and see how it turns out, and I'm going to continue. The only part we've got left to finish is the commander's hatch. There's not a huge amount left to do on there, and so far there's been no fit issues and no problems whatsoever, so nothing really to talk about on the build of this part. So I'll get this done. By the time I'm done with this, hopefully this will be dry, and I'm going to try and put this to one side and see if that dries. So I shall talk to you shortly. Okay folks, that is us complete with the build process. Just in case you're curious, this is how that bit of tissue paper turned out. So it's still pliable, and I believe if you wet it again it will go soft again, but it will retain some of its shape. So yeah, I think I'm going to use this in the future for some other projects. We shall see. So anyway, yes, lower hull is all done. Tracks, we have our tow cables, we have our main gun, we have our side skirts, which I'm not sure if we're going to use or not yet. We have our upper hull. We have all of our wheel sections also done. So there and there. We've got a few bits in here. We've got the smoke launchers and the 2 fire extinguishers. We're going to paint these separate. Unsure if I'm going to use the smoke launchers or not yet. And of course we have the main turret and commander's hatch itself. I've taken a few liberties with this, and we've added some aerials and things in there. I don't know if you can see that. We have not put the ammunition box holder on the machine gun either, and I'm not going to bother. Our bit of tissue paper turned out okay. We won't really see how good it is until we actually paint it up. So that is the build complete. So next we are on to paint, and I think I've decided on what colours we are going to attempt. We're going to be using lacquer colours, and we're going to try and use this colour modulation set, which I'm going to put on camera now. We're going to use a colour modulation set, dark yellow version from Mr. Hobby, the Mr. Colour. So you can see the 4 different colours there. I will probably use these 3 colours, and I might try and put some sort of stripe, a camouflage stripe or dots, using the very dark colour. We shall see. Still to be decided. So as always, thank you very much for watching. If you've got this far in the video, you're awesome. So as always, be good, be safe, and as always, keep making models, and we will catch you next time. Ta-ta.